Get up! It's More Movies Weekly, number 51.
51 witnesses, gentlemen of the jury, thought they heard shots coming from the grassy knoll.
Welcome to the show. This is the podcast where we like to talk about the movies we've been watching, movie news, film stuff, cinema, all of those kind of things. You know the score. My name's Greg Fisher. His name is David Roberts. How you doing, Dave?
I'm pretty well, sir. I'm pretty damn good. And how are you?
I'm not too bad myself, my friend. All the better for seeing you. So this week we have been watching Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Ooh, blows your mind. So, about a month ago or so, we reacted to the trailer for this movie. It is directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, known as the Daniels. It kind of looked a little bit like an answer to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because there's this whole idea of a multiverse going on. But nothing to do with Marvel, superheroes, etc. Even though I noticed the Russo brothers were executive producers on this film.
Yeah.
So there is a tentative link in that sense. But
they were also... they were also offered to direct Loki prior to doing this film, and they turned that down.
The Daniels now.
The Daniels, yeah. So they were actually offered to be part of the Marvel multiverse thing, and they went, "No, we're doing our own thing anyway that we've got." So,
well, there's definitely similarities to be drawn. I think last time on episode 50 we covered Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So to now look at this film sort of straight afterwards, it kind of is. It's interesting, really, because there's definitely room for comparing, contrasting them in that sense of they are thematically similar.
Absolutely.
However, with something like Doctor Strange, you can say, well, it's about this wizard, and you can kind of explain it away, especially in the context of the Marvel universe itself. This is much more singular. It's much more of itself. It's kind of stands on its own. And if I was thinking to myself, if you had to sort of, if you told somebody you just watched this movie and you had to explain to them what it was about, it wouldn't be the easiest thing to do, would it?
No, I thought the same thing. I thought, how do I tell someone what this film's about? It's almost impossible.
It is
to explain.
I mean, on a very basic level, it's about. It's basically the central character is a woman, played by Michele Yeoh. The character's name is Evelyn Wang, and she is like a middle-aged woman. She owns a laundromat or a laundry, what we would call a laundrette in the UK, and. She owns that with her husband. They're kind of like not in the best stage of their relationship, and they've got a teenage daughter as well. And basically, they need, I think, like they need a loan to expand their business, basically to get another laundromat and sort of expand a little bit. But they're having trouble with the IRS, and the IRS lady or Inland Revenue Service lady is played by Jamie Lee Curtis. So, in its very basic form. This is what the characters are going through. But what is revealed is this idea of there being a multiverse, being an infinite amount of possibilities of every single decision we make branches out to another I suppose line of existence in a way, and that kind of breaks into her world. And it does that through her husband, who kind of says to her, you got to do this, you got to do that, because there's an evil force that's going to kind of come and kill us, and we need to sort of combat the evil, and you're our last hope, and all this kind of jazz. It sounds a little bit superhero-ish. It sounds a little bit like it's that kind of thing, but it ain't.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think when I watched the trailer, I really wanted to watch it. The trailer was intriguing, but I very much expected kind of, it's a bit slapstick, it's a bit silly, it's almost a pastiche on the Marvel multiverse idea, and it would just be lots of action. And watching it, I think the first 10 minutes, that was what I was expecting. I was just chilling, eating pizza, going, yeah, this is a great film. And then suddenly it kind of reveals itself to you that this ain't a normal action film. This is a really serious, deep, emotional, punching film about our existence, nihilism, family, all these things wrapped up in one. And yeah, wow.
There's a lot of themes going on with it. Obviously, like I say, she's a middle-aged woman, and she's kind of grumpy, isn't she? You know, she's like not really happy with her lot in life. Felt like maybe she could have done more. Her father as well is played by James Hong, who we were talking about the other week, who got his star on Hollywood Boulevard. He's in loads of films. Everybody knows him probably from stuff like Blade Runner. He's in Big Trouble in Little China, of course. He's Lo Pan. He's in loads of stuff. And he kind of says about her, you you always start things, but you never finish them. So she's got this sort of life where it's unfulfilled because she hasn't really fulfilled her potential. She hasn't really, done the things that she could have done. So when this multiverse starts to open up, she's able to tap into herself in different lives where had things gone differently. So in one, she's like an opera singer, really famous opera singer, because one of the things she likes to do is sing. In another one, she's like a famous actress. In another universe, she's got wibbly wobbly fingers. It goes like to the.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things for me. Like, one of the things we mentioned when we talked about Doctor Strange, I mentioned that I felt like they didn't explore enough universes. There was a little montage in the middle of it, but they didn't really explore that many. You didn't get a chance to go multiverse in a way.
Yeah. And
here, I felt it did. It did exactly that. It was like, oh no, we're going to go to all these different places and way beyond the thoughts and expectations.
Way beyond the physical form of a human being as well. In one universe, they're just rocks.
Yeah. And it's one of the most
rocks sitting on a cliff top.
And it's one of the most beautiful moments of the film. Yeah. In that scene.
And so also one of the most hilarious as well, I thought.
Yeah.
It was quite funny, like a good sense of humour there. But it's a mad film, isn't it? It really is. I think it's one of those films that it's hard to explain exactly what's going on. You have to watch it. You have to kind of watch it to see the whole thing. Because like you said, you thought it was going to be full of action and sort of like that kind of element to it. It did have that in it. It did have the action element. There was some great fight scenes. I was almost thinking in some parts it's like the most tripped out, freaky, crazy kung fu movie you've ever seen in your life. But that doesn't really do it justice because, like you said, there's all these heavy themes. There's all this sort of like existential questions going on. Who are we? Why are we here? What are we doing? Is it all just ridiculous and nothing matters? Or are there actually special little moments that make us the human beings that we are? It's all kind of covered, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a real genre mix in terms of it is kung fu and martial arts films, but it's animation, it's fantasy, it's sci-fi, it's black comedy.
Yeah,
it's an action movie, it's a rom-com, it's an LGBT movie. It's everything in its own little way.
Yeah, sometimes
from the universes they're going to, sometimes from what they're doing. And you're going from the highs of a movie where you were in the territory of 2001: A Space Odyssey, Planet of the Apes, those kind of films where we're talking about humanity and our history, existentialism, nihilism. We're really focused on these really key aspects of why are we here, what is our journey, and stuff like this, which is really powerful stuff. All the way down to something like American Pie or Scary Movie where there's knob gags and dildos slapping faces and butt plugs going up. It really is that ridiculous.
Was hilarious as well. The award she has sat behind her, she's like, you don't get one of them. And there's like, that just looks like giant butt plugs. And then later on, they kind of play on that.
Yeah.
And talking of 2001 as well, that is also, there's a tribute to that in there.
Yeah.
As well. I noticed a couple of movies throughout that I thought, they're doing like obvious nods to that.
Oh, absolutely. There was loads of references, wasn't there? Where it's like, yeah, that's that. There's probably loads more which you have to rewatch it.
Well, this is what I was going to say. It's a kind of film you watch once, you can enjoy it, and then when you start to think about it, you think, well, I'd really need to see this again to really get, and maybe again after that, to just draw everything from it. Because the one thing about it is absolutely packed with visuals, ideas, scenes. It doesn't even really ever go anywhere in terms of the characters themselves, because they're skipping to different multiverses. That in itself takes the film to different places. But the characters themselves never really get out of either the laundromat or that office building in the IRS. Yeah. That's kind of it. And, it's just, it got to the point with me towards the end, I felt actually quite mentally exhausted watching it.
I'm exhausted. I can't remember who's alive and who isn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an attack on the senses. And I went through every emotion watching this film. I was smiling, I was laughing, I was going, "Whoa, yeah, go on," I was crying. It was everything, because you're moving around so much. So I think by the end there is a kind of exhaustion of, oof. But I don't think it's necessarily negative, because it's quite deliberately provoked out of you.
I think that attack on the senses from everything. I think, and because it's kind of got a sort of a cyclical nature within the narrative, it keeps coming back to that same place and that same thing that she's trying to overcome. I just felt at the end it was a bit like, whoa, but that, like you said, is not a negative thing.
No.
I mean, it's a visually absolutely amazing looking film, and it's great filmmaking. These guys are great directors. The cinematography was absolutely brilliant. It was so good. The editing as well, the way that some of the montage images come together was incredible. It was very immersive from the minute you put it on. I felt like the first 30 minutes, you don't even have any other external thoughts except what is going on screen. I found I was just into it. It was just like,
you soon get glued and zoned in, and then
that's the sign of a great film.
It is.
It's not about what it's about. It was the way it was put together and the way it gets you into this person's life straight away. I was just like, wow.
Well, I think that this is the most important reason. So I'm going to boldly say, and it's hard sometimes to, when a film has just come out, to start, you're very hesitant to go, oh, this is how good a film is. Is it just because it's new and exciting? But I definitely think I need to watch it again, but I think it's certainly up there as one of the best ever. I think it is that good a film.
I think that's well. I got that impression that it was like, this film they're going to be talking about this in 20 years from now.
Yeah, I think thematically it does things that are groundbreaking. I say it got me going. The key for me is a comparison to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You look at it and you think, why is this so much better? And I mean, it's really simple. The core of the story is absolutely nothing to do with this multiverse thing.
No.
That's a narrative device to get us through these emotional punches, and it's fantastic. But the core of the film is about humanity, and it's about everything that we can relate to: our own parents, our own sons and daughters, our own crises in our own personal lives, and how we combat them and how we get through it, and answering those fundamental questions that we all can link to. And that is why it is such a really great film, because it deals with something at the real core of it that we sit there and go, yeah, I get it.
That someone is you.
Yeah. And everything else then makes sense because you're relating in the middle emotionally.
Yeah.
And when you watch something like Doctor Strange, you're certainly not going to get that kind of emotional resonance. You know what I mean?
Totally agree with you, mate. I totally agree that, in terms of a multiverse idea, this is the film. If you had to go and see one or the other to be introduced to the idea of a multiverse, this is the one to see by far.
Yeah.
Not to knock Doctor Strange too much. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it's just a comic book movie. It is just a comic book. This is more like a novel, a classic all-time intricate novel written by, some amazing author or something, because of it is so rich with ideas, and it also doesn't take itself too seriously as well, though. It walks that very fine line between deep and meaningful and covering all these philosophical, existential ideas, but also putting everything down to just being a bagel. That is actually a black hole and can suck everything in because everything is meaningless.
I think, that's the key one of the key kind of themes I got from it, the kind of idea of, well, actually, it doesn't mean anything. So just enjoy it and relate to your fellow human, kind of ideas.
Just like life itself, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where it was getting, the end when, I think a great scene that illustrates the genius of the film is the hot dog fingers world. So we've got the snappy hands, and it's hilarious. It really is one of the first time you see it, it's one of the funniest things, like the ketchup and mustard coming out. It is just like something to behold, and it's all played for laughs. Mm. That scene comes back again, of course, near the end, and through what's happened in between that and how they play it, suddenly that's an emotional, punching, interesting, deep scene.
Yeah, because in that universe, her and the Jamie Lee Curtis character are lovers.
Yeah,
and they're kind of going through a sort of rough patch in a way, like she is with her husband in the initial universe. And it's like, wow, like I say, you have to go back and watch it again just to get everything out of it and to think to yourself, it's like a mad dream. There's parts of it I thought, this is like the craziest dream you've ever had, and you woke up and you go, whoa, I couldn't even tell you what happened in that dream, It's so well put together. Let's talk a little bit about the performances as well. Michele Yeoh, absolutely incredible in the main performance. Yeah. The woman is amazing. Really pulled me in straight away. Away.
I'm so glad in a way that...
Because she's not the most likable character at first, is she? And
she's not.
But you want to know what she's going to say and what she's going to do, and you're kind of interested in her. You think, wow, what's this woman...
What's it about? Yeah.
What's her deal like? What's her dealio?
I think it's so amazing that she's been given a film here where she can really show off every aspect of her acting talent.
Yeah.
She doesn't get to do it too much. No. And here, she's like, go do it. And she really grasps it and takes it and does some amazing stuff, really.
She's amazing anyway. You watch her in something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's brilliant in it, but that is a very one-dimensional role. And forgive the expression, but this is a multi-dimensional role in the sense that literally she has to be the same person in many, many universes. And to pull that off is not easy, is it?
No, it's not. And to do it quickly as well, because it can change quite rapidly in a scene. So to move between it, it's almost like Jim Carrey or something like that. Yeah. You've got to keep moving. And
lots of energy. We just mentioned her anyway, Jamie Lee Curtis. I felt, considering she's a supporting role in this, I felt like she gave it 110%. You could tell that this amazing star of cinema who's been going since the 70s, she was totally into it.
Yeah. I always love Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's one of the very best. I love it, everything she's in almost. But she definitely chewed the scenery on this and really.
And she's usually she's the main star or something. If she's in it, she's the one. She's like, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. But in this, it was a supporting role. But I felt like she must have read the script for this and thought, I am doing this movie. I have got to do that role. I am going to be part of this. And considering that, she's just like 110% commitment. Funnily enough, earlier on in the day as well, I was actually watching an episode of Columbo.
Oh, yeah.
And she makes a cameo in it as a waitress.
Oh, wow.
And it was probably one of her earlier appearances, because that would have been like mid-70s, just before Halloween, that sort of era. And I thought, Jamie Lee Curtis.
She is.
Brilliant.
I think she really did enjoy the kind of script and the film, and it's something she fell in love with, judging by her interviews I've seen since. And she had a bit of a Twitter spat with about Doctor Strange, saying that they've out multiversed it financially and critically, or something along those lines. Having a bit of a, I think some people were giving it some stick, going, "Oh, it's just a copy of Marvel or whatever." Despite this film being written 10 years prior and being filmed prior to the pandemic, so
I think,
it's a bit of
like
nonsense,
we've just said, in 20, 30 years' time, people will have forgotten about Doctor Strange. It will be a footnote when they're talking about this film. Anyway, back to the cast. We've also got Stephanie Hsu as Joy, as her daughter Joy, and also, in a sense, the antagonist of the piece. I don't really want to say the villain of the piece because she's not a villain, but she is the antagonist character. She was brilliant. Yeah. She was very, very good in it, I thought. Again, like we've just said about Michele Yeoh, she had to play the same character, but on many, many, many different levels, and she had to show a whole range of emotions.
Yes. And did it exactly. I mean, I've not really seen her very much, but she did a fantastic job.
She was great.
You believed her, and especially near the end when you're starting to get into the more emotional, impactful stuff.
Yeah.
Her eyes were magic. They really told a story. So, just fantastic.
And again, we had James Hong, obviously always brilliant, even though the guy's like in his 90s. He's never give a bad performance.
No.
But that leads us round as well to Huy Kwan. Now, when I first turned the film on, I was watching it, I was thinking, I know that face. I was watching him and I was thinking, he reminds me a little bit of a young Jackie Chan, although he's a little bit thinner. And I was thinking, who does he look like? Who is he? And then I was like, that's Shorty. That's Shorty out of Indiana Jones. And of course, Data in the Goonies as well. And I was I think it's the first film I've ever seen him in where he was an adult.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. It's funny you mentioned Jackie Chan because apparently this film was originally intended to be a Jackie Chan-led movie.
Really?
And then they changed it to a female lead and went with Michele Yeoh. But that was the original intention.
Wow.
But amazing Huy Kwan back. I mean, I've not seen, I don't think I can remember seeing him in anything apart from his child performances in the 80s. Loved, obviously, we all love him in those films. But I've seen some interviews since, and it's quite sad, really. He basically quit acting back in 2002. His last film was Second Time Around, but he quit acting because he thought there was no opportunities for Asians in Hollywood, especially at the time, and kind of wasn't getting any phone calls and stuff like that. So he just quit.
Wow!
And obviously he's been left just doing whatever he does in the background for all these years. Mm-hmm. And apparently, back in 2018, he watched Crazy Rich Asians. Really great film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But he watched that and was really inspired by the performance, and he thought, there is an opportunity now. So he hired an agent, started looking for jobs. The first script he got was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Wow.
The Daniels sent it, once they heard he was interested, they sent him the full script, and they agreed straight away, basically, we'll do it.
He was brilliant in it.
And he was amazing, wasn't he?
Like we just said about the others, he had to snap from one thing to the other. I mean, at one point he's the sort of meek husband with the high voice, and he's like, "Oh, we got to do this, we've got to do that," and then he snaps and he's like a bit more heroic, and his voice is a bit deeper, and he's just like, and she sees him with different eyes, and I just thought his acting was excellent. He got to do some martial arts as well, which he was brilliant at, really, just as good as anyone. Which was really cool to see, but it was his acting, just in the scenes. He was funny. We know he's funny anyway, though, because we knew he was funny as a kid. He was like a scene stealer. But I think as well in the sort of emotional side of things, he really had the chops there. And I was so glad to see that. And I thought, in light of what you've just said in that story, I hope he gets loads more roles because it's ace to see him back.
So do I. It'd be a really lovely return story to see him get some more big roles, and really.
Why
sink
shouldn't
into
he?
things.
He's brilliant. He's got a lot of talent, a lot of potential.
Again, he was one where the eyes were really selling it for me.
I thought so.
The way he looked at things, and you're like, yes.
And that's the thing. He had these glasses on, but when he took them off, he became this sort of like heroic husband. That's like, God, I really need to see this film again a couple of times to really wrap my head around it. And there's the difference between that and Doctor Strange. You watch Doctor Strange and you think, all right, I could tell you what happens. It's it's kind of formulaic, A, B, C, there we go, there's the film. This is like a whole alphabet, mix up all of the letters and then mix them and keep mixing them up just as you're starting to form a word. It is just an incredible film.
It is.
It's not going to be for everyone, because some people will just be like, oh, I can't handle this.
No, there might be some people who don't get it. I've seen a few. I did look on Letterboxd and had a quick look. There's a lot of love for this film, and I'm so happy it has got a lot of love. There's a lot of people coming out of it. It means a lot to the Asian community in America as well. I've seen a lot of videos and reactions to it, and they're very emotional about it, and I think it's a lovely thing. Yeah. And it's getting high praise. It's really high ranked on Letterboxd now, first or second or something.
Did you notice, can I just say, on Letterboxd as well, did you notice, when you press the little watched icon?
Oh, I haven't pressed the watched icon yet.
Yeah.
What's something happen?
Yeah, it turns into a little googly eye.
Oh, brilliant.
Which is obviously ties into the film.
Excellent.
I thought that was such a cool thing for Letterboxd to have done, to actually, a little Easter egg there.
Do something for it. I did see some of the negative reviews, but reading some negative reviews of people who they're not cinema fans, in my opinion. That's the kind of stuff they write. It's almost like trolling.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's I haven't come across a perfect film. Very few anyway. Films are absolutely perfect, and like I said earlier on, myself, I did feel exhausted by that last 20 minutes. I had to kind of think, right, well, just keep with it, see where it's going. And it wasn't a negative thing for the film. It was just there was so much happened by that point. I was just like, oh my God, I need some resolution here. I need this to resolve but like I said, I want to go and see it again. I want to rewatch it. I want to get more from it.
Absolutely.
And I totally agree with you. I think it's probably one of the best films ever.
Yeah.
It deserves that sort of acclaim.
I think so. I need to watch it a few more times, and of course, time has to pass for these things.
Yes, absolutely.
That's my gut instinct. I don't usually think that really, but that was my gut instinct. Was wow, because it took me through everything, and I was like, "This is something, special."
Well, like you said, people giving negative reviews, not fans of cinema. So we're trying to appeal to fans of movies, fans of cinema here. And if you consider yourself that, I would say definitely give this movie a shot. It's well worth it. Go and see it. You'll go and see something you've never seen before. Is fantastic. Would you not agree, Dave?
Absolutely. Just, I plead with anyone, just go watch it. Just, if you like films, go watch it. Go check it out. It really is worth watching.
And if you have seen it, let us know what you think in the comments below, because we'll be interested to hear other people's opinions, of course. Even if you say you didn't like it, that's fine. Just tell us why. But there we go. Massive, massive thumbs up from me and Dave. So that just leaves us enough time to tell you a little bit about what else we've been up to on our YouTube channel and on our website over the last week or so while we've been away. We have a article, our top 5 Frank Capra films. It was his birthday the other week. I thought it was a good idea to just list off top 5 Frank Capra, who's arguably the most influential and special director of the 1930s in terms of Hollywood cinema.
Absolutely is. An amazing record. A really great article. We've also got I've done a new review of X, the new A24 film. So that's up right here on the YouTube channel and, of course, over on the website. A Film in 5 review. So you can go check it out. Again, link in the description down below. And of course, if you want to listen to this podcast in audio-only format, maybe you're going for a walk or you're cooking in the kitchen, we're on all the major podcast platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Music, all those different things. there's a link with all the information in the description down below.
And why not join us on social media? We are at More Movies For You across the board there on all the different social media platforms, or you can come and have a live chat with us over on Discord. Again, all the links in the description below.
Absolutely. And if you like what we're doing and would like to support us, remember you can jump over to buymeacoffee.com and leave a little donation so we can have a nice latte in the evening. Or you can jump on Patreon and join one of the packages over there where you can vote on what we're doing and see some extra content as well.
Well, there we go. That wraps us up for number 51. Thanks very much for listening in or watching along here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for everyone on Patreon, and Buy Me a Coffee for donating and helping us keep going here at More Movies. We really appreciate it. Dave, any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say, in another life, I would have really liked just doing laundry and taxes with you.
Laundry and taxes. More laundry and taxes.co.uk. You need your laundry doing or your taxes? Come and see us. We got you covered.
That's it for this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And remember to like, share and subscribe right here on YouTube. For more film reviews and articles, check out our website moremovies.co.uk. And join us on social media at More Movies For You. That's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all across the board. You know the score. If you enjoy what we do, please consider supporting us at buymeacoffee.com or join us on one of our packages on Patreon. The links are in the description down below. And for more filmtastic content, click one of the buttons on screen now.